Level 1. Negative balance. You check the app before you're fully awake, and the number loads with a minus sign in front of it. Negative $18. You stare at it like staring might make it move. It doesn't. It started as a $4 coffee you forgot was set to charge on the 1st. Just $4. The bank does not care that it was $4. The bank cares about the rule, and the rule says you cross zero. $35 fee. The penalty for being broke is becoming more broke, and the fee is always bigger than the mistake. Then a second charge clears, a $7 subscription you meant to cancel months ago. The system sees you are already under and takes another $35. By Friday, the rent payment fails, and a late fee lands on top of it, and the $4 mistake you could not fix is $200 deep now and moving in directions you never approved. You open the app at lunch, still negative. You open it in the parking lot before you go inside. Still negative. You are checking a wound to see if it has closed on its own. It hasn't. That afternoon your card declines on a sandwich at the register. $8. The cashier does not say anything. She just waits while you tap your phone and refresh a number that will not refresh. And the man behind you shifts his weight, and you set the sandwich back on the rack like you changed your mind. You did not change your mind. The number changed it for you. Your coworker asks if you want to grab food later. You tell him you already ate. You didn't. Hunger at this level is not loud. It is the kind nobody sees, because you have gotten good at looking like a person who is not hungry. You go into the branch to ask about the fees, and the teller looks at her screen, and her face changes. Not unkind, just cooler. You watch yourself stop being a person on that screen and turn into a number with a problem attached to it. You leave without asking what you came to ask. The first rule at negative balance. You do not check the number checks you. Level 2, $200. You are above zero now. 20 hours of overtime to climb here, and you climbed it, and nobody noticed but you. You check the app the way a parent checks a sleeping baby. Quietly, often, afraid of what the stillness might be hiding. $200 is not a cushion, it is a ledge. One slip and you're back at the wound. So the math runs in your head all day now. Gas or groceries or the phone bill. You stand in the aisle and add the card up before you reach the register, because the number in your head has to match the number in the app, and the number in the app keeps no secrets and shows no mercy. And maintenance fee hits anyway. $12 withdrawn quietly for the privilege of holding the little you have. You never agreed to it. You just watch it leave. Your tire blows on a Tuesday morning. There is no card for it, no buffer, no version of the next 3 days where this does not hurt somewhere. You ride the bus and you're late, and your manager looks at you for 1 second longer than he needs to. And in that second, you feel yourself turn into a story he is quietly telling himself about who you are. At $200, you still check the balance 5 times a day, because at $200, the balance can still turn on you overnight. The number's awake even when you are asleep. The second rule at $200. Above zero is not safety. It is a ledge you check 5 times a day to be sure you're still standing on it. Level 3, $2,000. Something changes, and it is not the number. It is your shoulders. You check the app on a Friday morning, and the math does not frighten you. And the calm is so unfamiliar that you check a second time to be sure. $2,000 is the first time the balance stops being a cliff and becomes a floor. A small floor, but a floor. The car makes a sound you do not like. You take it in. $400. It hurts, but it does not end you, and you pay it and watch the number drop, and you do not feel the drop land in your chest the way you used to. That is the whole difference at this level. Not freedom, absorption. You can take one hit without the entire structure coming down. You go to dinner with a friend and you order the thing you actually want instead of the second cheapest thing on the menu. $40. You do not run the math first. Later you notice that you did not run the math, and the noticing is its own small quiet event. The credit card offers start arriving in real envelopes. Your name printed on them like you turned into someone overnight. You stop checking the balance 5 times a day. You check it once. You are not safe at $2,000. You're only no longer drowning. And not drowning, after a year of drowning, feels almost exactly like winning. The third rule at $2,000. The first thing money buys is not comfort. It is one bad day that does not turn into 5. Level 4, $15,000. You open the app and you have to stop and think about when you opened it last. 2 days ago, maybe 3. The reflex is loosening its grip on your thumb. $15,000 is the first balance that takes a surprise without flinching. The water heater dies on a Sunday. $900. You handle it on a Wednesday between 2 meetings, and by Thursday you have honestly forgotten it happened. That is the part nobody describes about a real buffer. It does not only pay for the emergency, it pays for not carrying the emergency around in your body for a week. You stop calculating the small things entirely. You buy the groceries you want. You fill the tank all the way and do not watch the dollars climb. You tip without arithmetic. Small freedoms, each one invisible to anyone who always had them, each one enormous to you. People begin to read you a little differently, though nothing about you has changed except the way you stand at a counter. You're not bracing anymore. The bracing was always visible. Its absence is visible too. A coworker assumes you will split the cab without thinking about it, and you do, easily. And somewhere in their head they move you into a different category without ever knowing they did it. At $15,000, the balance stops running your day. You run your day, and the number waits quietly in the background like something you own instead of something that owns you. You still check it on Sundays, out of habit now, not out of fear. The fourth rule at $15,000. A buffer does not only pay for the emergency, it takes the emergency out of your body. Level 5, $80,000. You check the balance maybe once a week, and when you do, it feels like curiosity instead of surveillance. $80,000 is the level where money stops being about surviving the month and starts being about choices. You could move. You could leave the job. You could be wrong about something expensive and still be fine on the other side of it. You do not make any of these decisions. They are simply doors you now know are unlocked, and knowing they are unlocked changes the way you move through the whole building. The bank calls you, a real person this time, not a recording. His name is Paul. Paul handles accounts like yours now, and Paul would like 15 minutes of your time to talk about your goals. The same institution that once took $35 from you for a $4 mistake is now dialing your number on a Tuesday morning to ask what you want from your life. You did not become more worthy of the call. The number beside your name did. You stopped telling people what you have, not out of shame anymore. Out of something closer to privacy, the instinct of a person with something worth protecting. Your oldest friends still talk about money the way you used to, as weather that happens to them, and you catch yourself going quiet, because the distance between you is not measured in dollars. It is measured in the body, in whether the shoulders are up or down, and you cannot explain down to someone whose shoulders have never once come down. At $80,000, you stop performing fine for people. You simply are fine. The fifth rule at $80,000. The number stops being something you survive and becomes something you protect. So you stop saying it out loud. Level 6, $500,000. You realize one evening that you have not checked the balance in 11 days, and you only realize it because Paul emails you about something unrelated. The number that ruled every waking minute of your life at negative $18 is now a thing you forget about for a week and a half at a stretch. $500,000 does something the smaller numbers could not. It works while you sleep. The balance grows a little on its own each month, money arriving from money instead of from your hours. And the first time you understand that in your gut, you have to sit down at the kitchen table for a second. Every dollar you ever held before this one came out of your time. This is the first money in your life that came from nothing but having. The bank stops sending you offers. It sends you a person. Paul drives out to your office, the meeting on your ground instead of his, and he brings a leather folder with printed pages inside and sets 2 coffees down on the desk before he opens it. He asks about your timeline, your plans, the shape of the next 10 years, and at no point in 90 minutes does he try to sell you a single thing, because the selling already happened and you never felt the moment it did. You are not a customer at $500,000. You are something the institution would very much like to keep. You check the balance now, the way you glance at the sky on your way to the car, occasionally without stakes. The 6th rule at $500,000. This is the first money that works while you sleep, and the first money you can forget for 11 days at a time. Level 7, $3 million. You do not check the balance. Someone checks it for you. There's a person now whose job quietly includes watching your numbers so that you never have to. And the strangeness of it does not land until the afternoon you try to recall your own login and cannot. At negative $18, you knew the figure to the exact cent at every hour of the day. At $3 million, you know it to the nearest 100,000. And only on the days someone tells you. The relationship has changed shape again. Paul is still your contact, but above Paul, there's a quieter floor of the building. Fewer desks, a man who handles maybe 20 accounts in total, and yours is one of them. He meets you in a room with no nameplate on the door. He slides a single sheet of paper across the table. One deal, terms that will not appear on any public page, and he lets you read it in silence before he says a word. Your rate is not published anywhere. It is negotiated in that room. The paperwork that takes an ordinary customer 2 weeks takes you 2 days, because somewhere a name got attached to a file and a different set of rules came out of a drawer. You walk into a branch in a city you've never visited, and they know you before you have signed a single thing. Not because you are famous, because you are flagged, prioritized, moved to the front of a line you can no longer even see. At $3 million the act of checking, the thing that defined your relationship with money for your entire life, belongs to someone else now. The seventh rule at $3 million, real wealth is not a bigger number to check. It is not having to check at all. Level 8, $10 million. You cannot remember the last time you opened the app. The thumb that once found it before your eyes were open has forgotten the motion entirely. The number does not watch you now. It is watched by people who report to you, in rooms you do not have to sit in. Statements arrive already understood. Decisions are brought to you finished, needing only a yes or a no. At $10 million, you do not have a banker. You have a relationship, and the difference is that losing you would show up in someone else's review at the end of the year. The institution does not compete to keep you. It organizes itself quietly around the goal of not losing you. Deals are written for you alone now, a single set of terms, your name at the top, numbers that exist on the page only because you exist to read them. One afternoon, a senior man from the bank flies across the country to sit at a table with you and ask, in person, what their next tier of clients will expect. He writes your answer down in a small notebook. You're not buying anything in that room. You are being consulted by the same kind of institution that once took $35 from you for crossing 0 by 4. The eighth rule at $10 million. You do not check the number anymore. Other people check it, and they report what they find to you. Somewhere right now, someone is awake before they meant to be. Their thumb is already moving across the screen. The app loads before their eyes are fully open. The number is red, negative something. They stare at it like staring might move it. It will not. They will check it again at lunch, and again in the parking lot, and again before they sleep tonight, hunting the screen for a forgiveness it does not contain. They think the number is telling them what they are worth. It is not. The person at negative $18 and the person at $10 million are the same person, the same hands, the same face. Only the number beside the name ever changed, and the number was never measuring you. It was only ever deciding how the world would treat you. The balance only ever asked one quiet question: how long you would have to keep checking it before checking became something you no longer needed to do.